Hello, my name is Marshall Goldsmith. My mission is to help successful leaders achieve positive long-term change in behavior for themselves, for their people, and for their teams. Oh, by the way, in India, one special challenge.
In Hindi.
Talk to your mother-in-law if you're a woman. How can I be a better daughter-in-law? Now, your mother-in-law may say you're perfect, but don't bet on it in India.
Exactly. That's really true.
You mentioned I always got ranked #1 coach in the world. Why? No one knows I'm a good coach. I may or may not be a good coach, but I got the #1 clients in the world. I have the #1 customers in the world. And what I've learned is if you work with great people, you're going to look good. You work with the wrong people, you're not.
So hello viewers, right now I am in conversation with the OG, with a GOAT, we would say the greatest of all time trainer, world's #1 executive trainer, best-selling author of What Got You Here Will Not Get You There. And you must be knowing him. He's a god in the field of leadership. So first of all, thank you so much, sir, for taking out your precious time to be on the podcast. And this podcast is going to be very valuable for thousands of people. And actually, I have collected the questions from the viewers though. So thank you, sir, for being.
Oh, I'm very much looking forward to working with you. Thank you for inviting me, and slow down a little bit when you talk to me.
Yes, sure. So, Marshall, sir, first of all, I would, and actually a lot of viewers will very love to hear your journey, that how did you become so successful in the realm of leadership and coaching industry so far? So tell me your journey, right?
All right. Let's see. My journey. I'm going to try a little experiment here. Let's see if it'll work. Yes. About my journey. My name is Marshall Goldsmith. I am from a small town called Valley Station, Kentucky. During my first 4 years of elementary school, we had a primitive outhouse. We did not have indoor plumbing at our school. My high school was ranked #2 from the bottom in Kentucky in academic achievement. Kentucky was ranked near the bottom of the United States. I did not go to Harvard Prep. My mother went to college for 2 years, which was very unusual for women in my neighborhood at that time. She was a primary school teacher. My father concluded that women with children should not work. The bad news was that we got to be very poor. The good news was she devoted all of her school teacher energy to one student, me. I knew how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide before I went to school. After my first day of school, I concluded that I must be the smartest person who ever lived.
Right.
I was not a great achiever in high school.
Right.
At age 14, I was the first in my class to be detained by the police for disorderly conduct. Although I was not a very motivated student, I was fortunate enough to get extremely high scores on the scholastic aptitude tests. This enabled me to get a scholarship to go to college. My undergraduate school, Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology, is a wonderful school. It has been ranked the #1 small engineering school in the U.S. for 24 years. I was not a wonderful student. I made 5 Ds and was lucky to graduate. In 2023, I was the graduation speaker and received an honorary Ph.D. in engineering. I told the story of my unimpressive youth and then led a standing ovation for the bottom half of the class. As it turns out, I was not alone. Many of school's most successful graduates were not at the top of their class. Fortunately for me, my streak of great test scores continued with a near-perfect GMAT score. This enabled me to get another scholarship and go to Indiana University for my MBA, although I was still not a great student. These same test results led to me receiving a Chancellor's Fellowship, which the height possible award for my Ph.D. program at the UCLA Anderson School of Management. Since I had no money, this was the only way I could have gone to graduate school. At the UCLA Anderson School of Management, I finally grew up a little and became interested in my field of study, organizational behavior. I started making high grades. I was extremely fortunate to be able to work with wonderful professors who taught me much more about life than just academic research. We spent
So you wanted a little of my background, right? This
Wow,
is my computer bot. Now, I've
right.
been
What is
working on
Marshall
this.
Goldsmith AI, right? You have introduced, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Marshall Goldsmith, that AI. Now, as you notice,
Mm.
I've been working very hard on this.
Mm.
Before it would have answered that question, even last week, with a
Mm.
bunch of lists, and here's where I went to school, and here's the honors I got, and all that stuff. I have now worked to make it human.
Right.
So as you listen to it, it doesn't sound like a story you would get from a computer bot.
Exactly.
It's about me being detained by the police and, being a bad student. And it's real. So what
Exactly.
I'm really working on now is making this much more real and human. So as you know, I'm working on my own computer bot. I
Mm.
spent hundreds of hours on this, and I'm teaching it all I know, and it's available to everyone in the world for free.
Right. 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 And actually, I have seen about this on in Instagram reel. You were talking about this is now actually it is available globally. You can search anything you want, anything about me, anything about leadership. He will answer. And actually, it is like a human. It does not sound that I'm talking with a robot, right? It's like I'm talking exactly with Marshall Goldsmith, sir.
That's my goal. Now, again, it's this is a breakthrough just in the last few weeks because before the content is excellent.
Mm.
The content is better than me, by the way,
Yeah.
but it didn't feel like a human. It didn't feel like you're talking to a person. I mean, the AI bots, they're all good.
Mm.
You don't get the feeling you're talking to a real human, though.
Exactly. Right.
And when you say, what's your educational background? Well, I went to this school, I got these honors, I did this and this and this. Well, that's all nice,
Right.
boring,
In
boring.
very systematically way, it actually told
Yeah.
us about yourself, right? So Marshall sir, I think whatever the question I'm gonna ask, you will you will turn
The
that
rest of the questions I'll try to answer by myself. I just
right.
want to do one. I do want to do one that let the computer bot do the answering.
So viewers, as you can see, you can go on Google and search Marshall Goldsmith AI, world's #1 executive coach, leadership coach, and his book. And whatever the question, you can ask to a human, you can ask to the same AI, and he will answer you in the most generous and in realistic way with a systematic and practical approach.
Well, thank you so much. And again, so far we've had 100,000 questions asked already.
Mm.
And we're just kind of getting started. So hopefully get up in the millions. And ultimately will be available in 44 languages.
No, wow, that's
Yeah,
pretty
so
nice.
it's coming. So it's a very, very exciting project. And again, back to my story,
Mm.
my mission is basically to give away all I know to as many people as I can. Um, well, I am 75 years old. And I don't need to win some another award or something or make some more money.
Right.
So I just want to try to help as many people as I can in the limited time in life I have left to do it.
So, sir, as I mentioned that I have actually accumulated few questions from the viewers, right? And I would love to go through that, right?
Yeah,
So, sir,
yeah.
you have coached some of the most successful leaders in the world. What do you think that a leader truly, makes him apart from the ordinary leader? In concise,
Well,
that what are the habits?
well, a couple of things. First, I'm going to answer that's kind of two questions.
Hmm.
One, I'm going to talk about the positive, and then two, the negative. The
Right.
positive of what to do, yet the negative of what not to do. And they're both important and they're both different. On the positive side, I help leaders achieve positive long term change in their behavior. So I'm the world's expert at that. If you do a Google search, helping successful leaders,
Hmm.
the first 500 references, 450 are me. So
Right.
that's it. I'm the authority on this topic. Well, the first thing is everyone I coach gets confidential feedback. They find out what everyone thinks of them and they get confidential feedback because, look, let's face reality. Nobody wants to tell the big boss they're making mistakes.
Right.
So they all get confidential feedback. Then they pick important behavior to improve.
Hmm.
If I'm coaching the future CEO, they talk to the existing CEO. If I'm coaching the existing CEO, they talk to the board.
Hmm.
So everybody gets an approval. Then I interview all their key stakeholders in advance. These would be their peers, board members, What's this? I learned what they're doing well, what they need to do better. They get feedback. Then they all publicly apologize for whatever mistakes they've made. They talk about the positives. They publicly talk about getting feedback. They have a coach. And then they follow up on a regular basis and practice something called feed forward.
Right.
Now, feed forward is a wonderful process. You learn to ask people for ideas, listen, and say thank you. You don't judge and you don't critique. I'm a Buddhist. Buddha said, only do what I teach if it works for you. If it doesn't work for you, don't do it. Well, in feed forward, you ask idea. You treat the idea like a gift. If someone gives you a gift, say thank you. You don't judge the gift or critique the gift. You say thank you for the gift. And they do this over and over and over, and they get better. The ones that do the best, three qualities. One, they have courage. The stuff I teach, it's easy to understand. It's hard to do. It takes courage. Two, humility. You got to have humility to admit you can improve. And then three is discipline. You have to do the hard work over and over. Nobody gets better because I'm their coach.
Right.
They get better because they work hard. Arnold Schwarzenegger had a great quote. He said, nobody got muscles by watching me lift weights. They got to lift the weights. Well, that's life. And then what to do and then what not to do. Well, it's very hard for successful people to change. Why? The more successful you become, everyone laughs at your jokes. They all suck up. They all pretend you're smart. And the higher up you go, the worse it gets. So all of a sudden you start believing, I do this, I am successful. Therefore, I must be successful because I do this. No, you do this, you are successful because you do many things right. And in spite of doing some things that are stupid. And I've never met anyone who was so wonderful they had nothing on the in spite of list. And for example, one of the biggest problems of people I coach is winning too much.
Mhm.
When it's important, they want to win. Meaningful, win. Critical, win. Trivial, win.
Right.
Not worth it? Win anyway. Winners love winning.
Right.
It's hard for winners. And as they get promoted, they have to learn, quit winning all the time. Let other people win. Quit proving how smart you are all the time. I'll give you an example. You want to go to dinner at restaurant X. Your wife, husband, or partner wants to go to restaurant Y. You have an argument. You go to Y and it was not your choice. The food tastes awful and the service is terrible.
Right.
Option A, critique the food. Point out our partner was wrong. This mistake could have been avoided if you listened to me.
Right.
Option B, shut up. Eat the stupid food. Try to enjoy it. Have a nice night. What would I do? What should I do? Almost all my clients, what would I do? Critique the food. What should I do? Shut up.
Right. That's really practical thing you have shared, sir. And actually, I really love that. And sir, I'd like to know that how do you, suggest, and actually, what are the leadership lessons you have learned from someone unexpected or outside the corporate world? Right.
Well, I've learned many lessons outside the corporate world. I do a lot of volunteer work. So I've been the coach of the head of the International Red Cross, the Girl Scouts, the president of the World Bank. But let's take outside of the organizational world, because many leaders are not in the organizational world as such. To me, what I've learned is, for most of us, what we need to work on at work and what we need to work on at home are the same thing. Just a few hours ago, I was talking to a gentleman in a very large company in India, and he was incredibly impatient. And I asked him, are you impatient at home? He said, yeah, my kids think I'm too impatient. My wife thinks I'm too impatient. For most of us, it's the same thing. Now, outside of work, very important, I'm glad you asked. Outside of work, get in the habit of doing something. How can I be a better husband, wife, or partner? Start asking the question, how can I be better? And listen, how can I be a better son? How can I be a better daughter? How can I be a better father? So one woman went to my class and she said, I didn't have this idea. She gave it to me. Teach people to do what you teach with their parents. She asked her daughter, how can I be a better mother? They had a very nice talk. And then she said, I should call. Then her daughter said, how can I be a better daughter? She said, that's nice. I should call my mother. She called her mother and asked, how can I be a better daughter? Her mother said, Daddy's dead. I live alone in the country. Every day I take a long walk up the road to go to the mailbox, and almost every day there's nothing in the mailbox. It makes me lonely.
Right.
It would mean so much to me if you send me a card or picture. Every day she started sending her mother pictures and cards. What did it cost her? Nothing. What did it mean to her mother? Everything. She sent me an email 3 years later and said, my mother just died. The last thing her mother told her was, thank you for doing that. So anyone listening right now, if your parents are alive, ask your parents, how can I be a better son or a better daughter? It's good for three reasons. One, it's good for them.
Right.
They'll be proud you cared enough to ask. Even if they say you don't have anything to change, they'll be proud you cared enough to ask. Number two, it's good for you. What's the number one regret children have when mom and dad die? Why didn't I thank them for everything they did for me? And then number three, if you have children, it's good for your children. Why? You know, the old people you're calling up on the phone, you're going to be the old person. How do you want your child to treat you? The way we treat our parents is a message to our children.
Right.
That's the way they're going to treat us.
That's really practical thing, because you have shared the, I mean, very insightful it is, and it actually happens with everyone, but very few can actually observe it, that if we can treat our parents, then that's how our children's gonna teach, I mean, treat with us. That's really very practical thing, sir. And sir,
Oh, by
another
the way, in India, one special challenge:
mm,
uh,
in Hindi.
talk to your mother-in-law if you're a woman. How can I be a better daughter-in-law? Now, your mother-in-law may say you're perfect, but don't bet on it in India.
Exactly. That's really true. We have to admit it, right? And sir, you have been in India as well. I mean, few times, right? In Mumbai, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been to India 40 or 50 times.
Mm,
So my books are very popular in India. My book, What Got You Here When We Were There, last month was ranked number 2 in management books in all of India.
wow.
And that's, I think, 17 years after it was published. So, you know, my books are incredibly popular there. I have 1.5 million followers on LinkedIn.
Mm.
And I think Bengaluru is number 1 city for my followers.
So lots of Indians actually have been following you for a long time, right?
Yeah, a lot of Indians, right? And my AI bot is being developed by Fractal Analytics, who's kind enough to pay for all this. So I was on the phone with them today, and they're the ones who are really supporting my AI bot.
Wow. That's
Yeah, also the opportunity. You've been to the airport at Delhi, India, right?
mm, right.
Anyway, the airport at Delhi is, you go there, it says GMR. I was a coach of Mr. GM Rao. He built the airport there. Wonderful man.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I've always loved my experience in India.
actually, you have collaborated with few actually social media influencer in India too, right? For an
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I have seen that. And sir, what are your amazing lessons you'd like to share for people about what get you here will not get you there, actually, apart from the insights you have written on that book, because it is full of practical insight, but what is the one thing you really feel that I have not mentioned it, or actually I should mention it? So do you feel such kind of things?
Well, you know, I'm going to just give a very specific, simple suggestion for every listener.
Hmm.
If they don't do anything but this one thing, it's going to help them at work and at home. One of my good coaching clients was named J.P. Garnier. J.P. was the CEO of a very large drug company called GlaxoSmithKline. I asked J.P., what did you learn about leadership as the CEO of this company? He said, I learned a very hard lesson. He said, my suggestions become orders. My suggestions become orders. The higher up you go, your suggestions become orders.
Right.
You're the CEO. You know what they say? Yes, sir. I asked him, what did you learn from me when I was your coach that helped you the most? He said, you taught me one lesson. You helped me be a better leader and have a happier life and be a better husband and father. I said, what was that lesson? He said, before I speak, breathe. Slow down, breathe, and ask one question. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Not just, am I right? Is it worth it? And he said, at work, about half the time, if I breathe, is it worth it? What do I decide? Am I right? Maybe. Is it worth it? No. Now, sometimes it is.
Right.
But if you just ask, it's good. At home, though, if you have to ask at home, is it worth it? The answer is almost always no. It's not worth it.
Right.
If you have to ask the question, you probably already know the answer.
Mm, exactly, sir. And actually, that is a very practical thing that you have mentioned, is actually a lot of things, very insightful, and the viewers who are watching us, really, you must be feeling quite valuable, because I guess, sir, our most of viewers really follow your coaches, because the coaches you have trained, like including Chester Elton, Yogesh
Yes.
Shabria, and Gary Ridge, right? So actually, when I
Oh,
hosted, yeah, yeah, Gary Rich, a leadership, speaker, right, and author.
oh, Gary Ridge is a great guy. So Gary Ridge, a good friend of mine, a wonderful person. See, I'm very, very fortunate because, as you mentioned, I always got ranked number one coach in the world. Why? No one knows I'm a good coach. I may or may not be a good coach, but I got the number one clients in the world. I have the number one customers in the world. And what I've learned is if you work with great people, you're going to look good. You work with the wrong people, you're not. One of the great leaders I coach, I talked to yesterday, his name is Alan Mulally. Alan, I've known for about 30 years.
Right.
Alan was the CEO of Ford. He turned the company around. He was CEO of the Year in the United States. Amazing human being. And Alan, I said, Alan, of all the people I coached, I spent the least amount of time coaching you, and you improved the most.
Mhm.
And the client I spent the most amount of time with didn't improve at all.
Right.
So there doesn't seem to be much connection between me spending time and you getting better. What should I learn about coaching from you? He taught me a lesson that changed my life. He said, your whole challenge as a coach is work with people who want to get better. Work with great people that try. You work with the right clients, you win. The wrong client, you lose. And he said, don't make it about your ego and how smart you think you are. Make it about how great they are. Well, that lesson changed my life.
That is
And
really
by the way, most of us don't understand this lesson. Everyone listening, I'm going to ask you some questions. Question one. Have you ever tried to change the behavior of a husband, wife, or partner that had no interest in changing? Have you tried that before? How's it working out for you? Another one, how's this? You ever tried to change the behavior of mommy or daddy who didn't want to change? How's that going for you, right?
right.
I was teaching my class at Johnson & Johnson.
Mm.
I said, how many of you tried to change your parents? A woman raised her hand. I said, are you trying to change mommy or daddy? She said, daddy. I said, what's daddy's problem? She said, he doesn't have a healthy lifestyle. I said, how old is daddy? She said, 94 years old. Leave the old boy alone. He's 94. Quit trying to change him. He doesn't care.
Right.
Oh,
Exactly, sir. So, sir, you have achieved so much in your career. So, what drives you to continue your work actually?
well, the first with what's important in life.
Mm.
What's important in life is first, how important is money? Well, you need kind of a lower middle class income, but after that, money doesn't really matter that much. You think it does, but it doesn't. Two, you need to have great relationships with people you love.
Mm.
Very, very important. And then, and then you have great relations. You got to, and take care of your health, of course, very important.
Right.
But assuming that you're healthy, you got a middle class, lower middle class income, you got good relationships with people you love. Three things matter. One is you need a higher purpose or mission. Why am I doing this? It doesn't have to be religious, but there needs to be some higher purpose. Why am I doing this? Number two, you need to achieve. Because, the people listening to us are achievers. If they were not achievers, they would not be listening to this podcast.
Right.
They're achievers. Achievers need to achieve. It's okay. And then number three, you need to love the process of what you're doing. You need to enjoy the process of life. Now, why am I doing this? You know what I could be doing instead of talking to you right now?
Mm.
I could be playing crappy golf with old men at the country club and eat chicken sandwiches and discuss gallbladder surgery. I'd much rather talk to you and try to help somebody than play bad golf with a bunch of old men grumbling about your surgeries, right? Look, you got to find meaning in life.
Mm.
Now, the other thing you mentioned is the word achievement. This is something else I hopefully help your listeners with. Very common problem in India is this. Many people believe that achievement and happiness are connected.
Mm.
And I will be happy after I achieve more. No, you cannot achieve your way to happiness. Achievement is not going to make you happy. Achievement is good for achievement, and happiness is good for happiness. Happiness and achievement are independent variables. One of my great coaching clients is Albert Bourla, CEO of Pfizer. I'm talking to Albert next month. They came up with this great vaccine. I called Albert about 3 years ago. Albert, how's it going? Oh, very good. The vaccine. I said, Albert, I took that vaccine. Maybe it saved my life. Thank you. Good job. Anything else? Oh, yeah, profits high, employee engagement. Another guy's CEO of the year. I think I've coached 5 people, CEO of the year. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. I said, Albert, what's your problem? He said, I have a huge problem next year. You see, if his value as a human is he has to do better than last year, he will never have another year like that. Never. No human will have a year like that. Michael Phelps won 25 gold medals, more than anyone in Olympic history.
Right.
You think he was happy? You know what he wanted to do after winning number 25? Kill himself. kill himself, totally depressed. Well, you can't make happiness a function of achievement. Achieve to achieve and be happy to be happy.
Mm.
Now, again, back to the Gita, the Bhagavad Gita. What's the key point? Never become fixated on results. Why? You can't control the results. You can't control the results. And let's say you achieve the results. How much happiness does that give you anyway? A
Right.
day, a month, a week? What happens next year? More, 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 more. The Buddhist term for this is called a hungry ghost. You're always eating, but you're never full.
Mm.
So back to life, three things. You ask me, why am I doing what I'm doing? One, I've got a higher purpose. What's my higher purpose? I want to help as many people as I can and limit the time I have left to do it. Hopefully this will help out a little bit.
Mm.
Goal number two, achieve something. Well, I'm trying to, I just passed a number, 4 million books, so I've achieved a little bit, and I don't want to stop achieving things.
Mm.
And then number three, enjoy the process of life. I enjoy my life much more trying to help people and do what I'm doing now than what am I going to do? Again, playing golf and boring things like that.
So you have actually differentiated very, I mean, this is the only lesson I have learned from a coach like yourself, that happiness is for happiness and achievement is for achievement. That is really, I mean, wonderful thing I have ever heard so far, right? And I'm really going to write it after this.
Well, let me spend a little more time on that. There's some interesting research called the marshmallow research from Stanford University. In the research, they give these kids a marshmallow, a marshmallow, a little candy.
Candy,
And you
right?
tell a kid, if you eat one, you get one. But if you wait two. Well, again, allegedly, the kids that wait grow up being more effective and higher achievers. The whole idea of the research is delayed gratification is good. I'm sure you've heard this your whole life. Delayed gratification, work out more, be on the diet. Delayed gratification is good. Well, here's the problem. In the marshmallow study, they did not take the kid that ate two and said, wait a minute, don't eat two. If you wait more, three. Wait some more. 4, 5, 10, 100, 1,000.
Right.
Where does the story end? An old man sitting in a room waiting to die, surrounded by thousands of uneaten marshmallows. Sometimes you need to eat the marshmallow.
Right.
If all you do in life is delayed gratification, you know what you get a lot of? Delay.
Mm.
You know what you get very little of? Gratification. And in spite of the fact this is a core of Hindu philosophy, India is probably worse than the United States now about this. Yeah, achieve more, work harder, do, make the money, live in the house, make the more.
And actually,
Yeah,
you are right, sir, because in India, I feel people, judge themselves about that, how much money we actually have.
right. And
So,
money's an interesting variable. The people I've coached many billionaires, many. Well, some are very happy and some are not. I coached one guy, funny story. He's a multi-billionaire. He lives in a 30,000 square foot house on the water in Laguna Beach, one of the most expensive homes in California, right? And I said, why you want to hire me as a coach? You're already worth $4 billion. What am I supposed to do? Help you get up to 4.1 billion? Why do you care? He said, you're right. I don't care. He said, look, you coach my friend and my friend is happier. I just want to be happier. You think $4 billion is going to buy you happiness? No, it won't. No.
exactly.
By the way, if you have billions of dollars, you know what your life is like? Here's what you see every day if you have billions of dollars. You see people with their hands stuck out everywhere you go. If you're not careful, your children, your grandchildren, everyone you work with, politicians, everybody's got that hand out. After a while, you don't know who you can trust, who you can believe in. See, one thing I've learned in my life, we all have this image that once I get achieve a lot, make money, I'm going to be happy forever. It's all going to work out. There's only one book that has this ending, and they lived happily ever after. That's a fairy tale. In the real world, we start over every day. Every day we start over. Every day is a new day.
Right.
And our challenge is make the best of today.
Mm.
But don't expect that you're going to achieve something and live forever and joy and everything. That's not real. That's not real. That's the great Western disease. The great Western disease, I will be happy when.
Mm. Exactly. So, Master Sir, what is your one piece of advice for youngsters, right?
My one piece of advice for youngsters, I'm going to give them two pieces of advice.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
One more practical and one more existential.
Mm.
Okay. On the practical level, the great Peter Drucker was my mentor.
Mm.
Peter Drucker, the founder of modern management, and I get ranked #1 leadership thinker in the world. My brain compared to him, child. He was so smart. He taught me many things. One lesson he taught me is this: our mission in life is to make a positive difference, not to prove we're smart, not to prove we're right. Don't waste your life being right and smart. You're not here on earth to be smart. You're here to make a difference, a positive difference. Number two, and very important young people understand this, every decision in life is made by the person who has the power to make the decision. Make peace with that. Decisions aren't made based on logic, rationality, or fairness. The decision maker makes the decision. If I need to influence you and you have the power to make the decision, one word I'd describe you, that's customer. One word to describe me, salesperson. Customers don't have to buy. Salespeople have to sell. Learn to sell. And realize the decision makers make decisions. Don't waste your life trying to prove how smart you are, right you are. Realize I'm here to make a positive difference and I need to be a good salesperson. And as a young person, the sooner you understand this, the better your life is.
Right.
And my other advice to a young person is be an expert at something. Figure out what you enjoy and be the world's expert at that. But don't try to be an expert at everything.
That's really going to be the very practical advice, which is be an expert in one field, right? That's really very, very practical. So, sir, what is the one suggestion you would like to speak about me, right?
For you personally?
Yeah.
All right. Number one, I'm going to give you more than one suggestion. Are you ready for coaching?
Yeah.
Okay. First, I'm going to ask you a question. What's your biggest behavioral challenge?
I guess, sir, my behavioral challenge is procrastination.
Procrastination. Okay. First is read a book. The book is called Eat That Frog.
Right, right. I
The book
actually heard
Eat That Frog is published by my good friend Brian Tracy. Read the book. Second, when you procrastinate, you need help. Now, your problem is partly procrastination, partly ego.
Mm.
Why? You've told yourself you're going to fix this by yourself. How old are you?
I'm so 19.
How old are you right now?
19, sir.
Yeah, well, you're not going to fix it by yourself. Get help. See, I teach something called the daily question process. Every day I write down a series of questions which represent what's most important in my life. Someone talks to me every day about how am I doing on my questions. Every day for 27 years. Now, somebody asked me, why do I try to have someone help me every day for 27 years? Don't I know the theory of how to do these things? I wrote the theory of how to do these things.
Right.
I know the theory. It's hard. My name is Marshall. I'm too cowardly and undisciplined to do this stuff by myself. I need help. It's okay. My clients need help. If they didn't need help, what would they hire me for? How many of the top 10 tennis players in the world have a coach?
Right.
10? Why do they have a coach? I want to get better. Okay, I'm going to coach you. Ready? Raise your right hand. Repeat after me.
I'm ready,
Raise
sir.
the hand. I need help.
I need help.
And it's okay.
And it's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
We all need help. Get over it. It's okay.
Right. It's okay.
You're not perfect. By the way, you're not going to get perfect.
Mm.
You're human.
Exactly. And that's really the very wonderful thing you have mentioned. So, and I really love, and thank you so much for being on the podcast, because we are approaching to the end of it, and viewers will definitely find it very, very valuable. Thank you so much, sir, and we really love you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Take care, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.